How does mass consumerism affect the world? You may have the ability to call water with the flick of a lever, the ability to drive, the chance to work, freedom in your everyday life. And yet, sometimes, you're left thinking, something's missing. Everyone wants to find a comfortable spot in life, after all, and your brain subconsciously avoids the other end. The workers who are living in cramped and unsanitary conditions, who are wishing for what you have. The lives of those who work tirelessly to bring you comfort, clothing, food, phones. They slave away endlessly to support their families, to survive. Mass production could lead to exploitation. It could lead to devastation. This is Bangladesh, one of the poorest countries in the world. Various clothing companies outsource their production here, making it the second largest clothing manufacturer. The living conditions of workers are horrible, making less than minimum wage every day. Poor economy, unsafe working conditions. Hell.
It was pure chaos.
There has been another horrific incident at a garment factory in Bangladesh.
It was the worst industrial disaster in Bangladesh's history.
A giant plaza with a market and several clothing factories inside.
1,134 dead. Another 2,500 people were injured. A garment factory making clothes for a British fashion brand collapsed. The top floors have been constructed without building permits, bringing destruction and pain to the workers when it eventually collapsed. The catastrophe brought light to unsafe working conditions of the factories. It brought attention to the conditions fast fashion and mass consumerism operate in. Branching from the fall of the factory, a movement was created known as the Fashion Revolution, considered the world's largest fashion activism movement. These movements are a positive force in the eyes of fast fashion, and give slight hope to those living in poverty, working to starve the gullet of mass consumerism.
Oh, come on!
Oh, routine. Nice to meet you. Just sit down, ask a question, and we'll get started. I'm going to be serious.
This good?
Yep.
Foxconn factories have been known for their poor working conditions. These conditions were exposed to the media after one of many attempted suicides was publicized. The main target of the public's hate during this was Foxconn themselves, and Apple, despite being only one of over half a dozen large companies that made products at Foxconn. In response to public and media pressure, Foxconn CEO claimed that the suicides would never have been blamed on him in his home country of Taiwan. This statement was later rescinded. Foxconn Communications Director Li Kun argued that the rate of suicides for Foxconn's factory workers was similar to that of China's relatively high average. Foxconn's solution to the suicides was to require new workers to sign a liability waiver, saying if they were to commit self-harm, it was not the fault of the company, and that Foxconn would not be liable to give compensation to the families of self-harm victims. Furthermore, instead of addressing why workers jumped from their dormitories, nets were set up.
Until 2010, when 9 Foxconn workers jumped to their deaths in a span of 3 months. The suicide nets are still a reminder of that.
Even so, Mr. Liu says another suicide is a matter of when, not if. I don't think our prevention is enough to stop the suicide trend.
Would you agree with me that your product should not be used where there is impure water? Yes or no?
We give all the instructions.
Just answer. What is your position?
Of course not, but we cannot cope with that.
Well, as I understand what you say is where there's impure water, it should not be used.
Yes.
Where the people are so poor that they're not going to realistically be able to continue to purchase that, and which is going to mean that they're going to dilute it to a point,
yes,
which is going to endanger the health, that it should not be used.
Yes.
All right, now, then my final question is what do you do, or what do you feel is your corporate responsibility to find out the extent of the use of your product in those circumstances in the developing part of the world? Do you feel that you have any responsibility?
We can't have that responsibility, sir. May I make a reference to...
You can't have that responsibility?
No.
Other large companies such as Nestle are prioritizing profits over lives. Using unethical methods such as putting children to work and manipulating impoverished communities, they maximize each and every earning. In the 90s, Nestle notoriously pushed baby formula into less economically developed countries. Formula requires sterile water, not commonly found in these areas. The push for formula started with samples, long enough to interfere with a mother's ability to breastfeed. Then, as Nestle cornered the market, they extracted money out of these poor families who had no choice but to buy from the only source that could feed their babies. Not to mention, Nestle's supply chain of chocolate has evidence of using children from 12 to 15. They were highlighted first in 2005 by the International Labor Rights Fund. In 2010, the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California dismissed it, determining corporations cannot be held for violations of international law. Not only that, the Fair Labor Association found several serious violations of Nestle's supplier code, neglecting checks on child labor and abuse.
Chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch.
The blend of Nestle's creamy milk chocolate with crunchies tastes just as good as it sounds.
Chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch.
Imagine children mopping blood off the floors of a meatpacking facility. This was reality in the Greeley JBS meatpacking plant, as well as many others. 102 minors were found sanitizing and cleaning meatpacking facilities, ranging from the ages 13 through 17. Hired by the Packers Sanitation Services, children being illegally hired across 8 states.
Child workers arrived for their shift at night, many of them from Central America. They were employed by cleaning company Packer Sanitation Services, Inc. to sanitize equipment inside the plant. PSSI has 17,000 workers. Of those, investigators say the company employed more than 100 children, aged 13 to 17, and 13 plants across 8 states.
How did mass consumerism get to where it is today? How did it get this bad? The development and spread of knowledge economies in Western states largely replaced industrialized economies. This also led to the development of large industrial companies in previously non-industrialized states, such as Bangladesh, China, and the Ivory Coast, among many others. With mass consumerism so integrated and harmful to the people living in our society as it is, what can you do about it? Wow, what a very well-made and informational video I just watched. I should probably consider giving this man a like and a subscription because it's obvious he puts a lot of effort into the good work he does. Anyway, just to generalize the point of the video is mass consumerism is bad, to put it simply. And you need to come up with ways to starve mass consumerism, to not feed into it. The first thing I could think of off the top of my head that would help this situation is just buying from thrift stores and recycling old clothing. This way, the best way I could describe it is you're cycling used goods, and you're not buying from super cheap and mass-produced companies in China and Bangladesh. Dude, those people are being paid in popsicle sticks for the work they do. They are not getting enough money at all. They barely get enough money to survive, to feed their families, and all that. Another thing I could think of is you could just buy locally produced goods. Sure, if you don't want a thrift store, just get a slightly more expensive one from this family that made a really nice t-shirt or something. Just take that. It gives you more quality control, and you don't get buying the cheap and mass-produced stuff in these factories. It's bad. So, to summarize, the next time you see, a really nice t-shirt or dress in a Walmart or Target of all places, or maybe you're getting a new phone, think to yourself, this is killing people. What can I do to do my part to help starve this type of work? To help starve this type of industry? And how to pass 10 minutes. Bye. Thanks for watching. What can you do about it? Was that good?
Yeah,
Right,
that
<laughs>
was good. That was good.
Thanks so much.
Here, man.
Thank you.
Good stuff, man.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited to edit this.